Well, folks, we got a bunch of French vehicles this time around, and out of the total, only 2 are Russian server import. The Vercingetorix or Charlord AP58, this is a tier 8 French heavy tank on the Russian server, now as a tier 9 assault medium tank with turbo mode, similar to the Polish mediums. And the Czołg Pancernik WZ46, this is a tier 10 on the Russian server. It has a smaller gun than our server, a 130 compared to our 155. So we're missing the TST as the VZ60S, a upgun version of this vehicle with better space armor and a loincloth on the hull front. So we're missing a few, but Comrade 75 has been practically scrapped. It's been about a year, as well as the recent vehicles, VZ60S, the TST, the VZ62, the medium tank with the autoloader, that's scary, the 𝗻𝗲𝗵𝗶𝗱𝗀𝗀𝗀 or E65 doesn't exist, realistically speaking, and the Windhound. So we're missing a few, but at least we're getting our server unique vehicles, right? The Windhound or the VZ62 doesn't appear on the Russian server for now, so at least we're getting both Russian server imports and unique vehicles, which is a plus. But only one new 3D style for the Chaffee. It's not bad too. It's camouflage net and a base camouflage paint, but that's pretty good. So I love my Chaffee, but low tier vehicles rarely, really rarely gets any 3D style. So this is a premium version of the vehicle. There's a base model version too in the game files, but the last time we see a low tier vehicle getting a 3D style, that was for Battle Pass of last year with the premium Sherman and the Churchill and the ARL 44. So who knows, but nice looking skin. Don't make it cost like more than 1,000 gold. Like cost like 500. That would be fine, right? Or free. That would be great. But the AMX ELC 901. Oh, sweet prints. It's not the original. Not the original ELC. Not even by a long shot. So practically a nerf version. This is a prototype to the actual ELC BIS. It's a tier higher though than the actual vehicle at tier 5 for some reason. This is a prototype. Add a tier higher. Make it tier 5 and put the BIS at tier 6 with better stats. I doubt it. I doubt they're going to do that. And it's kind of early for well-deserved reward, but hey, it's not a premium, so very likely commander and a driver, 90mm gun. The stats are not great, so low DPM, garbage, accuracy and aim time, 5 degrees of gun depression, 50 degrees per side, yada yada. Penetration is not great. Original pen on the 90 was about 170 or at least 150. So pin is practically neutered, especially at tier 6 too. So yeah, gold shell APCR back then had like 250 or 230mm pin on the AMX ELC, which is nuts. So this gun is crap. Takes super long to reload for the 90mm alpha. Yeah, not great. Has no armor whatsoever as expected, but it's all green. It's an ELC, come on. You're not bouncing anything. Yeah, you're not. It's only 20 on the turret, 30 on the hull. You get chewed up by any other gun, especially high explosive. So no armor whatsoever. Mobility wise, 27.5 horsepower per ton ratio. Respectable, but originally it was about 32 or 35. So not close, but 60 kilometers per hour top speed, 20 reverse, weighs about 8 tons. It's pretty decently mobility wise, but shadow of its former self. It's not even the former self. Camo, not bad for a light tank, very good actually, but yeah, it's been a long time since the actual ELC BIS. Very long. Radio is crap, so you're not really communicating that much to artilleries or sometimes tank destroyers. Red line sniping in the back. The vehicle is kind of bleh. It's like a 3 that we covered, right? From the initial super test. It's not really that good, but give an L for a well-deserved reward after playing like 13 years, 14 years. Alright, moving on. The Brennos. Our server exclusive French heavy tank, premium tier 8. It's practically like a AMX 65T with a different turret. Looks kind of like the Lorraine 50T's turret, but mounting the tank destroyer cupola from the AMX AC model 48 on the ass end onto the actual cupola spot, but goddamn, that's big. Turret is not as big as a Lorraine 50T, but it's getting there, so. Can you compete with a AMX M4 1949 with this vehicle? I doubt it. I mean, it looks good on horsepower per ton ratio, but the terrain resistance on the AMX 65T is garbage. So this might look the same, but once we figure out the actual soft stats like terrain resistance, might be just as bad. So crew of 5 fits all the AMX M4s. Let's see how good the firepower is. It's kind of average. 320 alpha, but only about 1850 DPM. Aim time is quick, and 10 degrees gun depression. But accuracy is kind of mediocre, so at least the traverse speed for the turret is somewhat decent. It takes way too long to load a 320 alpha. Compare this to an actual T32, you'll get out DPM dramatically. But how good is the actual armor? 1500 health? Pretty average. But 105 at the hull front, 250 at the turret front. And a goddamn massive cupola. Or 2. This is so freaking big. It's at least about 220. It's a slope 160, so that's not bad. I mean, against standard shells, you'll kind of bounce half the time, somewhat. Commander cupola is actually 155, so jam it through the commander cupola. That's a loader cupola. But, Mantlet is 240. At least he has some gun depression. Help out a little bit with the cupola. It's slope upwards, but hull front 105. It's pike shape, but yeah, it's similar to the AMX 65T. You'll get pinned in the hull. And this vehicle is not as fast. I mean, on paper it looks decent, but it's definitely not as fast as a Lorraine 50T. So it all comes down to the terrain resistance, but can I check it from here? I cannot. Damn it. So it all comes down to terrain resistance. If it's just as bad as the AMX 65T, then craps. Really crap goes out of the window. I'll show you the AMX 65T just as a free refresher. So terrain resistance, not great, especially for hard. This is about the same as soft terrain resistance on some medium tank. It is very difficult to rev up in the 65T. It does have 16 horsepower per ton ratio, but that doesn't matter, right? So yeah, it's slow. We'll have to see the actual terrain resistance on this vehicle, but god, it's practically another 65T. Which is not great. Camo's garbage. Super garbage. And you'll get spotted with the crappy hull armor. Yep. And 380 meters of view range, which is below average. And radio is below average. So this is like a 4. It's not great. It's really not great for the Brennos. At least it's unique to our server, right? So it's a really bad vehicle. Alright, moving on. We have the AP58. The Char Lord heavy tank, now as a medium. Assault medium tank. It's a premium. Crew of 4. Fits all the AMX 30Bs. But 105, 120, never mind. 120mm main gun. Punches pretty hard too. 400 alpha. DPM is respectable for assault medium tank. This is much better than the Brennos. Much better than the Brennos. You have different aim time for the turbo mode, but go into turbo mode similar to a rocket heavy tank just all the time. So compared to the DZT, it's very respectable in performance. So accuracy is not bad. Aim time could be a little bit better, but it's assault medium. You don't really fully aim at close range. And traverse for the turret is slow for a medium, but it's assault medium, so it's all about the armor. 1650 health, which is okay. Not the best out of a medium tank assault, but it should be about... E50 has like 1700 health or 1800 health. Close enough, but it's French anyways. So turret front, auto bounce. Practically, yeah, it's auto bounce. You're not getting the turret front unless you shoot the cupola. Cupolas, 160 or so. Rangefinder might be a weak spot. Very hard. Yeah, very hard to shoot the rangefinder. It's 60, but very small area. Hull front about 200 effectively, which is good for a medium tank, especially with the gun depression. 8 degrees or something. Yeah, 8. Something like that. So definitely could use hull down as well. But 200 is respectable, right? Compared to your 150 or 160 on the Brennos. That's crap. Lower plate about 200 also, so that's good. But space armor for the side skirts. Space armor for the side skirts, 5mm. That's good. You could side scrape, which is nice. Not too steep angle, but still could bounce a few. It's slope upwards on the actual hull side. It's only 50 though, so don't overcommit to side scraping. Armor's alright, right? It's similar to the DZT. You have one cupola weak spot compared to 2, but it doesn't have the rocket mode. So turbo mode, you jump from 15 horsepower per ton ratio to 23. Switching takes 2 seconds. I think you have to stay still and switch. It's not like the EBR. It's a little bit different, but top speed of 60 in turbo mode, only 40 in regular mode. That's fine. But yeah, going turbo with 23 horsepower per ton ratio and 60 kilometers per hour top speed. Get into key position like the castle on Himmelsdorf is very important when you have the turbo mode, right? Then you switch to normal mode for better aim time and actual fighting parts of the combat. That's actually pretty good. That's really good. Camo's crap for a medium tank anyways, similar to a pattern, so especially in turbo mode you get less camo, but you play this thing like a pocket heavy tank practically. View range could be better, radio range slightly below average, but view range definitely need optics, so I would say rammer, optics, turbocharger, the classic setup depending on dispersion as well as other soft stats. But yeah, this is so much better than the Brennos. So much better. It even looks a lot better too, right? It's more streamlined than the chunky ass super cupola on top. The massive, it's the tail end anti-aircraft mini turret or cupola on the AMX AC Model 48. This is so much better, right? Compare this to the actual, let's see, Russian server version. It doesn't have side skirts, and there's different machine guns on top, but the gun is practically the same, just no side skirts. It's more worn out too, like there's more splashes of mud and scratch marks on the gun barrel and the turret, but yeah, there's a lot more dents and banged up aesthetic to the vehicle on the Russian server. It's the same vehicle. It is really the same vehicle. So let's see. Yep, practically the same vehicle, just somehow looks more grimy on the Russian server. That's fine. Also, they covered up the rear end with space armor. Really? That's interesting. Yeah, space armor covered the rear end. Cover up the fume extractor thing. Yeah, they covered it up. That's cool. But small detail. Very small detail. Alright, moving on. We have the Sentinelle. Our server exclusive. A French tier 9 heavy tank that plays more like a breakthrough, like a VZ51. But visually, space armor on the turret and on the sides of the turret. It is much more appeasing since the cupola is not massive, but 2-round autoloader, 120 or 105 at least. It's a 105, I think. 120 has the 400 alpha default. This thing has 390, so it should be 2-round 105. But plays more like a breakthrough heavy tank, like the Czech heavy, or it's 2 rounds, so could be like a IS-8 with 2 rounds, but IS-8 doesn't have the autoloader. But visually, not bad looking, so much better than the Brennos. I'm calling crap on the Brennos all video. It's a 105. 4-man crew, that's fine. Missing the radio operator for the AMX M4s, but fits. I think it fits the AMX 50B line. It should. So makes more credits and crew XP, yada yada. But DPM for a tier 9 autoloader is about the same ballpark, so don't expect too much. That's about the same as a Char Murat, the recently released vehicle. It's a medium though, but does have 8 degrees gun depression, which is nice. Turn traverse is much faster too, so definitely faster than the AP58. But penetration is alright. Reload time 2.5 seconds between each shot, which is good. It's not like 4 seconds on something of a Char Future Project 4, so that's good. But how good is the actual armor to make use of the autoloader? 1700 health, a little bit more than the medium tank, but not much. It is 240 space armor turret front, 20mm space armor. The cupola is only 80, but you should really gun depress to hide the cupola as much as possible, right? So the good thing is the cupola is not massive, but you have to gun depress to hide the cupola. Otherwise, it's still a main target. Yeah, 90-ish millimeter. So at least the cheeks are space armored as well. That's good. It's a flat 240 with 20mm space armor, so good against shaped charges like high explosive anti-tank from most Russian guns. But upper plate is about 90 at about 150mm effective. So yeah, hull armor is not great. This is more of a medium tank than the actual Charlord AP58, the Verchingetorix. This is more of a medium tank than that vehicle, funny enough. 50 still on the hull sides. No space armor. Yeah, this little mud flap thing does not count as space armor, unfortunately. Yeah, this is more of a medium tank than the actual previous vehicle, funny enough. 16.7 horsepower per ton ratio, 45 kilometers per hour top speed. I mean, doesn't compare to the turbo mode, of course, but basically it's a medium tank still at this point. Camo, it's okay. It's a patent. And view range is a little bit better, funny enough, 390. And radio is about the same. So, yeah, not bad. I mean, the downside to this vehicle is getting used to the DPM and getting used to the garbage hull armor, but it's a medium tank, so not exactly the same playstyle. Well, yeah, not exactly the same playstyle as most French heavy tank, right? You don't have that many shells in your autoloader. You don't have that fast. It's still good, but not that crazy of a mobility. Huh. I think it's fine. It's not the most overpowered. The best vehicle is the assault medium tank. This could be better if it has like 2200 DPM with the autoloader, but yeah, it's okay. And the Czołg Pancernik WZ46. It's a big vehicle. It's massive. With a 155 that actually looks like a 155. Not like the 130 on the Russian server. Russian server has a weird allegation of miscalibrating the gun model compared to the actual gun size, right? So, I don't know. This looks like a big beefy gun. Looks like a 155. On the Russian server, it says 130 though, so possibly for game balancing, but Russian server balancing is already a mess with the recent like pyrometer and flamethrowers and ugh. No. Compared the gun size to the actual Russian server version. Yeah, that's also a 155-esque of a size, right? But the muzzle brake is different, of course, but look at the girth. I mean, you could say the inner diameter is smaller than the outer diameter, but whatever, right? It's about the girth, right? Not about the tube. Nobody cares about the tube. But 155 on this gun compared to 130 on this model. 130 somehow. It's a girthy 130 though. So it's the same vehicle, but down tier into a premium. So, I mean, compared to the 50 TP Proto, this thing is more like a super heavy, right? 50 TP Proto is more like a assault breakthrough than assault. 4-man crew, fits all the Polish heavy tanks. 155. DPM, I mean, it's a big beefy gun, so it takes a while to reload. 650 alpha, 100 less than what you would expect out of a 155 caliber, but 8 degrees gun depression, long aim time, garbage accuracy. It's a big beefy gun, so it's about in your face. A special note, this thing does not have the Yo tank spare track mechanics. It's quad track, as you saw, but compare this to the Russian server. Russian server has quad track mechanic for all track vehicles similar to this, like with the AE Phase 1. So it's not spare track mechanics where you can move, having only like some of the tracks getting blown off. So unfortunately, only a 4-man crew compared to 5. Interesting. Yeah, 4-man crew compared to 5. It is 4-man for the 60 TP, right? It should be. But where the hell do you get the radio operator from? Give me a split second to make sure. Small OCD hacking up. It should be 4-man crew. Yeah, it is. Of course it is. 4-man crew. So, yeah, it fits a little bit better now. It should fit a little bit. You don't have to find a radio operator from somewhere. So let's see the actual armor of this thing. 1900 health. Yeah, decent, respectable. Not 2000 though, but cannot be a tortoise all the time. So frontally, cupola is in the back. It's sloped 160 at about 230mm effective, so definitely will throw a few shots. Not at the front though. The front is, for the machine gun, it's flat. It's 160. It's weaker for the machine gun port. So direct center, 200mm about. You're not penetrating the turret front unless you're shooting like super gold shell out of a Jagdpanzer E100 or something. But 40mm hull roof. You can overmatch that with a 122. Oh no, upper plate 100. It's very well sloped and rounded, but 270 at the beak and 135 for the actual bottom plate. Armor is definitely not as strong. Definitely not as strong as the Russian server version. This thing has like 350 effective hull front. It's very well sloped too. 330 to about 600. So it's not like 100mm on this part of the armor. It's 60 on the actual hull roof compared to 40. Bottom plate is 150 compared to 130, but 135. So armor is definitely not as strong, especially on the roof where you can overmatch with a tall vehicle, like face hugging a E100 or something. And he'll jam a shell into your hull roof and pin, but cupola is also stronger, 200mm at the middle for the machine gun and rounded 200. So yeah, definitely stronger armor on the Russian server version. Side skirts 120 covering it, or 30mm covering 120. Yeah, it's like with the E100 practically, almost. 70. No, man. You lie about 120mm side armor. It's not 120, it's 70. At least it has space armor, but it's only 10 compared to 30. What? Oh, come on. You're nerfing all the parts of the armor. Ah. It is 120 between the tracks fine, but shoot a little bit above and you'll likely pin through the space armor if you're using a high penetration gun. Oh man, I mean, it's still very effective at side scraping, especially for between the tracks, but maybe the space armor will save the 70mm. They're not penetrating the actual space armor parts of the side armor with 120, especially 30mm space armor. Oh man, it's not a strong armor. Alright, rear armor, just shoot the rear. Yeah, just shoot the rear. At least it has space armor compared to something of a E77 or Tiger Mouse. God. 11 horsepower per ton ratio, 30 km/h top speed. It's not the fastest, but it's a slow chugging beast. I think, is it the same on the Russian server? 12.4 and 30 still. 72 tons compared to 100 tons. Weight ratio is off, of course, fine. But this should be comparable to a E100. Should be. This feels light for some reason, right? 72. This has a beefier engine, but lower horsepower per ton ratio because of the weight. Camo, surprisingly, not bad compared to like 2%. 1.7 on the Brennos. Garbage. Still 380 meters of view range. So these vehicles are kind of blind, but it's a heavy tank. You're close range. You don't really put optics on heavy tanks, but now we know. At least the armor is definitely not as strong as with the Russian server version, but you have a bigger gun. Well, less DPM. The gun's more powerful. Definitely more powerful for the 130. Yeah, it fires way faster with about the same alpha damage when you think about it. Just fires faster with better aim time, much better aim time, and slightly better accuracy. But alright. And finally, after all this time, the Gryphon. Ooh la la. It's a Concept 1B auto reloader 2-round 120 on a Chieftain chassis. It's a weird hybrid, but you already know how strong the Concept 1B's turret is. Practically no weak spot, but the machine gun looks a little bit bigger on the back end on this model compared to the actual Concept 1B on tier 9. But 2-round auto reloader, so you get the double shot without getting the double shot from the British heavy tanks. And recently we have girls on Panzer, so you could put all the crews in here as well. I am biased for British vehicles now, but the mushroom is there compared to the tier 9 version. I noticed it. So that's the main question. Does the mushroom vent act as a weak spot for the turret front? Otherwise, that would suck, of course. But let's see. Special tier 10, of course. Crew of 4 fits all your super conquerors. And auto reloader 120. Yep, 2 rounds in the clip. 2.5 seconds between each shot. The first shell is faster to reload than the second shell, so it's an inverse auto reloader. So yeah, 8.6 compared to like 11.4 seconds of reload. Definitely faster for the first shell. So it's like with the rest of the British auto reloader. No, it doesn't compare to the Caliban. Caliban has a weird loading. The second round high explosive is faster to reload than the first round. It's more like the Lion. The Lion has a 4-round auto reloader. That's first round is different. So it's like the Russian. There we go, like the Russian, practically. Accuracy could be better, 0.36, but you have the DPM of the auto reloader, so could mount the improved gunner sights, but that's up to you. Vertical stabilizer and likely a turbocharger, improved hardening. Aim time also could be a little bit better, 10 degrees gun depression. It is 2.5 seconds between each shell and 420 alpha. I think it was like 440 on the actual Chieftain hybrid. But this could be assembly shop along with the VZ60S. It depends on whichever favorable, but this is possibly the next one. It seems about the right time, right? I mean, both seems about the right time, but the second assembly shop should be happening around August or September or so. 2000 health, not that much health. It's more like a medium tank with this health. I mean, usually breakthrough heavy tanks have about 2100, 2200 for stuff like the 5A or the 277. But yeah, health is not that much. Only 80 at the hull front, 250 at the turret front. Does the mushroom come into play? A little bit. 230. 240. I mean, it's a small target, but cupolas somewhat there. It's a small target. Is the mushroom there? Thank God the mushroom is not there, but this little crevice on top of the turret, like this little nook right here, is not as steep as the actual Concept 1B. So it's about 250 on the actual Concept 1B, right? That's about 230, 240, depending on the angle. But let's see, pull up the actual Concept 1B just to confirm. I had it set because I wonder about the mushroom. But Concept 1B, there's no mushroom. And the angling seems a little bit better, right? So directly pointed forwards. 260, 250. It's a very sliver of a target for the cupola. Very small. So yeah, the angling on this little nook in front, like the forehead of the actual turret, is not as steep as the actual Concept 1B. So it's 20mm or less effectively. So more prominent to get shot into your cupola. Yeah, it's not as steep. So the mushroom is a bait for the less steepness of the angle. Also, the machine gun seems bigger on the back end. Yeah, it seems more bigger. More bigger? Yeah, it seems bigger on the rotatable now machine gun, but this thing is only rotatable at the base, like entirely. Huh. I mean, it's not used. It's an auxiliary gun that you could use backwards, but yeah, they cut it. They cut it in here and turned this thing into a rotatable machine gun thing, but yeah, okay, fine. Hull armor's crap. Hull armor's it's 80 sloped. About a 150 effect. This is a medium tank. This is not a heavy. You play this thing like a medium. At least the base of the turret is good. At least spaced, or not really bouncy. It's still bouncy-ish. Yeah, sloped. Okay, fine. Yeah, driver hatch 55. No. Bottom plate about 120mm effective. No. Side scraping. No space armor. Only the tracks. And it's only 90, so you could bounce off of a few from the back end of the engine deck, but yeah, unreliable. Definitely, especially with this little cheek right here. No, so no, you're hull down all the time. Yeah, hull down to hide the mushroom crevice part, but it's a medium tank. It's not a heavy. You play this thing like a medium. Mobility wise, 16 horsepower per ton ratio, respectable. 40 kilometers per hour top speed. So you play this thing like a medium. Put experimental turbocharger on this thing to help out with the dispersion, as well as putting a gunner sights for the accuracy, or possibly vertical stabilizer. Oh, you cannot put vertical stabilizer along with the engine boost. You could put vertical stabilizer and actual turbocharger and improve hardening, but this thing doesn't have the health. Camo could be better slightly. 400 meters of view range. Kind of crap compared to like 420, right? Or 410 at least. But I mean, assembly shop written all over it compared to, they still haven't figured out what the hell to do with the MBT-B after all this time. Does this still have like 6 rounds auto reloader burst now? I have no idea. Let's see. MBT-B. What have they done to you? 6 rounds. Burst fire, 2 round burst. So How the hell are you going to balance this thing? I have no idea. They nerfed the armor to crap on this vehicle too. I think they nerfed it to crap. Oh no! Oh, the armor's garbage. It's 200 now? That is utter trash. Oh my god, they butchered the crap out of the armor. Originally, this was 350 on the turret front. Now it's only 190 on the no, the armor's garbage now. Oh god, they butchered the crap out of this vehicle. Jesus Christ. I mean, it's all about the burst fire. Ooh, 120mm gun. Ooh, bullshit. They nerfed the crap. They also nerfed the crew member by 1 loader. What the hell? Oh god, I don't want to look at this thing. Go with the Gryphon. Just go with the Gryphon, or go with the VZ60S. That's fine, but god, they butchered the crap out of the MBT-B. Well, there you go, folks. A bunch of French vehicles. Only the good one is the Russian server import, and possibly the Sentinelle. The Brennos sucks. The Brennos looks like crap. Hull armor looks like garbage. Cupola looks massive. Okay, well, there you go. So, at least we are having some imports and some unique vehicles, so it's not like just importing from the Russian server, which is good. So they have a bunch of other vehicles that we could import, like the Taurus CA, the Tractor D. I remember that thing, the alligator at tier 9. Where the hell is the Tractor D? That's hilarious. So I mean, at least this vehicle is better than the Brennos. This is funnier than the Brennos. Why cannot we have this thing in place of the Brennos? It's ugly as all hell. It's also slow. It's a big caliber gun. It's a 130. Yeah, 130. But at least this is somewhat unique compared to the Brennos. The Brennos is AMX 65T in a different flavor. Oh god. There you go, folks. So as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. What a piece of crap.
僕らは何回だってきっとそう何年だってきっとさよならと